Hi and welcome to my favorite topic, quantum healing, which I really started to explore once I had already healed my pelvic floor. So I felt that I wanted to continue to optimize my health and my body. And having this experience of healing my pelvic floor really has set me on a journey to believe that you can heal your body and we can optimize our bodies. We don't need to look at, age as a just kind of health declining factor in our lives. We can live fully all the way till the end and without a lot of diseases or pain or dysfunctions. So this is how I came into quantum healing, and I will tell you everything about it. So quantum healing is actually where we try to optimize the health and the strength of each cell in the body. And the powerhouse of the cell is called mitochondria. So that is what we're working with, because mitochondria exists in every single cell. It doesn't matter if it's like a skin cell, a fascia cell, a brain cell, a muscle cell, skeleton cell. It's going to be driven by the mitochondria. So if we have strong mitochondria, and all mitochondria in the body, in each and every single cell, they thrive from the same thing. So it's kind of easy in a way to really support the body on a cellular level. And in this video I'm going to give you 5 simple tools and techniques, most of them for free, to start to integrate this to really support your overall health and with that your healing journey of your pelvic floor. I really wish I knew especially some of these techniques when I was healing, because I can really feel the difference in my pelvic floor now when I apply them. So for me, after I had healed the prolapses and the wideness, and I can really feel a difference in the scar tissue, not having as much scar tissue as I once had when I had all the symptoms. I still had hormonal imbalances. I wasn't really suffering from those because, they didn't give, I could see on my menstrual cycle that it wasn't optimized, but I wasn't suffering. So the symptoms that I saw was after having kids, everything just changed for me. So I had shorter cycles and very irregular, like they could be 20 days or 24 days or within that, but irregular. And then spottings, mostly just before my period, and then also like small what's that called, like coagulated blood, like small lumps of blood in my period. So I wasn't really suffering from any of these. I could carry on with my life despite having my period or being just before my period. I didn't have severe PMS or anything like that, but still I felt this is not how the body is supposed to be working. Something is out of balance, and if I am not treating this right now, it can definitely get worse. So I wanted to try and see how I could support the body, and I applied the techniques that I'm sharing in this video, and I started to see results a few months after I started to apply them, maybe around 4 months, and around 6 months after I really had a nice regular cycle. I didn't see any lumps, I didn't have any spottings, and I really do believe that all of this has helped a lot. And also it's important because these methods will affect all the systems in the body: the hormonal system, the immune system, the lymphatic system, the blood system, like all the systems, because it's signals from the brain that goes out into the cells. And if we can have that communication working optimally, of course, like the systems will be more balanced and coherent, and the whole body will be more coherent, which we are really aiming for. And that will also affect the pelvic floor and the mucus tissue, the fluid that can kind of come into the fascia and the ligaments and the nerves. Like, it will affect everything. So I do believe that adding some of this into your lifestyle and healing routine will take you very far. Of course, again, don't add it to a too long checklist of things to do to try to heal, but rather, like, what is awaking curiosity within you when you are listening to me speaking about these different things. Maybe one of the things you're like, that one I think is for me, and then you try that, and that may be enough. So don't stress about it, but long term I would absolutely add as many as you can, and especially like the free ones. It's so basic for human beings to have access to these kinds of methods. And I want to start off with honoring Sarah Kleiner. She is my big inspiration and teacher in this topic. She has healed lots of things. She has been overweight most of her life. She had hormonal imbalances, infertility, and I think ADHD, like IBS, so many different things. And she has really come out on the other side. She had her second baby when she was 44, I think. So she's just a huge inspiration, and especially from a woman's perspective, because all of these different like biohacking therapies like cold plunging and it kind of anything, it has, and also like exercising, which, you know, is great to do, but as a woman we need to do it slightly different compared to men. And she has this angle on everything. So she's talking about, I mean, even if you have had or been through menopause, you will still be on a kind of a cycle because your hormone shifts differently. It's not like men who have the same hormone 24 hours, like their whole life. We will have a more complex cycle that we need to relate to, and that she has so much knowledge about. So she's gonna kind of just say a few wise words around this and present the first tool that I am also going to share a bit more about.
Other people that are struggling with health issues, even while following a diet perfectly. And a lot of people just push them under the rug. That's kind of what a lot of those superstar doctors I interviewed on my channel. It's like, you need to carnivore harder. You need to fast harder. You need to do these things harder. And I was like, but I am. And it's not working. So, you know, there's got to be something more. And unlocking my journey to quantum health was the big aha moment that I can't ever go back to not talking about it. I can't ever go back to my old lifestyle. I can't ever go back to those things, because now I see how profoundly I'm affected by light. Something as simple as light that I kind of just would brush off and be like, that's stupid. Just go outside more. I'm like, that's too easy, right? Like, Why would I do that? That's way too easy. And I just see so many other people that are struggling with health issues, even while following a diet perfectly. And a lot of people just push them under the rug. That's kind of what a lot of those...
Yeah, so she's talking about light as the first thing. And this is a topic called circadian rhythm, which many of you probably have come across. And the circadian rhythm is basically how humans are dependent on the light from the sun, or the absence of light. Also, darkness is a really important aspect of how our bodies are functioning. So we want to strive to be with the light and let the light into our eyes, naked eyes and skin, as much as possible from the sun. And we want to avoid more of screen light, like blue light, because the sun never has, like, compared to a screen on the phone or a computer, it's going to be way much higher blue light from a screen than the sun could ever have. So our bodies are getting kind of messed up because of that, because they're like, well, what is this? Like, what is the sun telling us? Because our bodies believe that the light comes from the sun, and it produces all the hormones, all the immune functions. The nervous system is also based on this, and so on. So it's gonna get us like messed up to have too much blue light and too less sunlight. Of course, we need to be in front of screens, most of us, and that's okay. I highly recommend blue blockers. Make sure you have good blue blockers. You can also turn your screen into red, and you can just search on YouTube how to do that, and like the model of your phone or computer. It's kind of easy. So that I do really suggest, especially like 1 hour before you go to bed. But with the sunlight, probably the most important light is the moonrise. Sunrise, of course, not moonrise. Moonrise is also like, that's the second one I would recommend. But the sunrise will set like a timer in your body that from when you see the sunrise, and that's not like immediately when the sun goes up, it's usually around 10-20 minutes after. So it's like, it's bright. You can still see, of course, that the sun is rising, but it's not like the first. It's when the sun is, I think, 10% in an angle of 10% in relation to Earth. So we want to have sunrise into our naked eyes. And it doesn't matter if it's cloudy, it doesn't matter if you see the sun, you just want to have that light into your eyes. And if it does not work for you to go outside and get that light, you can also just open a window. It won't go through the glass. So open a window or a door and make sure you get that at least 2 minutes. Preferably 10 or even 20. So it depends on your schedule and what you're able to get, of course. So that's gonna set like a timer for the next 11 to 14 hours, so that you have the right amount of cortisol, for example, to work with you throughout the day. And then the cortisol production stops if you don't look at blue light and screens, and you instead the body will start to make melatonin, so that you can fall asleep. So the sleep cycle actually starts with the sunrise. So that's why what I highly recommend. Also, if you can, of course, seeing the sunset, that's great. Also for the melatonin production. So if you are struggling with sleep, this is key to work on this. And within circadian rhythm, I also want to mention that preferably we want to eat when there is light outside. So we don't want to eat when it's dark. We don't want to eat too close to bed. So just keeping that in mind. We can also talk about local food here, because food is also based on light. How much access to light whatever has grown or the animal that you are consuming has gotten. So it's information to the body as well. So I just want to mention that here. Eating locally is definitely preferred, and of course organic. So that's the circadian rhythm pieces I wanted to cover. There's a lot more to this, but this would be like the small first steps to take. And again, I'm gonna put Sarah's link in the description, and she has a full library to explore so many perspectives within quantum healing, and especially circadian rhythm. Okay, so let's have a look at earthing. And this is mind-blowing. So I'm gonna start with showing the video.
How the earthing or the grounding affects your blood. We're gonna take her blood, put it on this slide, microscopic slide, and take a look. As you can see, all her red blood cells are stacked up. This is called a stacked up cell. And see, let's go see. Okay. As you can see, the blood, before and after the earthing is obviously changed. So after you do the earthing, the blood.
Isn't that amazing? Like, you could really see how it shifted the bloodstream and the blood flow, the blood system. And I am not actually going to say so much more than how to do it. So earthing or grounding is when your bare skin touches the earth. You can do it with your feet, you can do it with your hand on a bush, on a tree, anything that goes down into the earth. You can also do it via like a dog or a pet who's on the ground. This just has an immediate effect on the blood system, the nervous system. Like, it has a lot of anti-inflammatory properties. So any inflammation, studies has shown, will decrease when you do earthing. So I mean, it's super easy in a way. Maybe not when it's winter and cold outside, but I highly recommend. And if you can do the sunrise in combination with the earthing, like just 2 minutes or 5 or 10 in the morning, first thing, boom, you're kind of done with the quantum healing for the day. So next one is very interesting, and I'm gonna let this engineer actually present this to you.
So I actually got into this topic about 5 years ago. Before then, I was a young technology enthusiast. I always used my smartphone and Wi-Fi. I worked in Silicon Valley and have a master's degree in engineering. So if anyone had told me that wireless technology could have health effects, I would have thought they're crazy. So if you're thinking that right now, I can relate. But this all changed for me over the period of about 1 week. And I started to experience headaches, ringing in the ears, insomnia, and a fatigue and brain fog that I'd never experienced before. And I shared this with a colleague at work, and she said, you know, the exact same thing happened to her husband when a wireless smart meter was installed in their home. So I went home that evening and I checked downstairs, and sure enough, we had a bank of wireless smart meters installed right below our bedroom in San Francisco. So this started me on a journey to learn as much about this topic as I possibly could. I now have a website about this, and I'm contacted by people all around the world every day who are experiencing the exact same things. It can be when they have a wireless smart meter installed, or a new Wi-Fi router, or even a cell tower placed across the street from their home. These are the common symptoms that people start to experience. This is actually from a published paper on the health effects of wireless smart meters. So, just here in the Bay Area.
Yeah, so I think you get it. This is called non-native EMFs, and we want to avoid them. So the Earth has natural EMFs. It's called electromagnetic fields around itself, and those are all healthy and fine. It's the ones that are human made, so all the radiation from, as he said, Wi-Fi, cell phones, all of that. And you can become a little crazy if you think about all of this too much, so don't do that. But make sure you turn off your Wi-Fi when you go to bed. Make sure you turn off your tablet, your phone, like everything, because at least like half of the hours throughout a day, or like a 24-hour cycle, you will decrease the radiations with half. So let's start there. There are other things you can do for sure, but that's just a really, really easy step to get going and not having that effect on the body that makes the communication so much harder for the body. We want the communication to flow, and that is what circadian rhythm and earthing will help with. And then we want to further support it to and remove any obstacles for that to happen. And then the next one is red light. And this is actually the red light device that I bought, that I finally invested in. I had been thinking about it for so long. Then I broke my arm and I was like, this is a sign, because I had read so much about red light and that it can actually heal bone fractures. So I bought it and it was crazy. From the day it arrived, it was like 3 weeks after I had the injury, I was healing so much faster. My arm, like, it was exponential. And I really, really think that the red light contributed to that. So yeah, we just get not enough red light. If we were spending all days outside, probably we would not need this, but we're not. So we can really use that boost of energy and like healing light from the red light. And I really recommend this brand. I love them. They are super nerdy, which I love. I did a lot of research when I bought this. I think it was about 2 years ago, 2.5. Can't explain much in detail now about, the different lights and so on, but you can find it on their website. I'm of course posting all the links below for anyone to do more research on it. And if you want to buy from here, I have a 15% discount code, which I also share below. So highly recommend this. And I usually do, like, depending on what issues you have, you need different types of like setups. Most people don't do it every day. I think you shouldn't be doing it every day. You should increase slowly once you start. And what I do is I do my front body, my back body, and then I lay down and I do my pelvis and vagina, pelvic floor, which is amazing. And I can see the difference in my tissue, like the mucus tissue and in the whole area of my vulva and vagina. So highly, highly recommend this. And then we have hydration. This is a woman, her name is Gina, and she's a researcher. She has dedicated her life to understand how hydration works, which is so very interesting, and it's so much more than just drinking water. And again, I'll post this link below because this is just so very interesting, this whole conversation. But I'm gonna show you now what piece of advice in a daily life, which is not, including, or it doesn't mean you need to buy a very complicated water system or like a huge filter or anything like that. If you can do that, of course, that is great. But there are simpler things to change the structure of the water so that the body more easily can absorb it.
So we really are made of water. We just aren't used to we think of it as liquid, and yet it can be as dense as cartilage. We definitely know that. And then maybe onto the bone structure, all muscles, all tissues. So if you just really think yourself as a tissue being made of various forms of density of water, this is how I'm trying to help you think about yourself. And then how do you feed that kind of a being? Bringing in more of that gel-like water is very straightforward. So I've talked about fruits and vegetables. If you do drink, coffee, tea, any of the liquid ingestments that you're making, add to your hydration. It doesn't have to be just straight up water. But if you are drinking just water, I really recommend that you add a little bit of sea salt, rock salt, a natural salt, just a pinch to your water, because that salt and water then start this electrical exchange. So now you are drinking a different kind of water. So if I could just be really blunt about this, don't ever drink a naked glass of water again. Do something to it. Squeeze a lemon in it. Throw some salt in it. Swirl it with a celery stick. Whatever, you want to get that conversation going. And then that electrical chain going, because the way we treat water out of our tap and the way we get water from the bottled water industry means that all that electricity is basically just left.
I love that. I love how she says get that conversation going. And that is what we want in the body too, within the quantum healing space. To get a good communication, a coherent communication within the cells, and really strengthen those powerhouses within each cell, the mitochondria. And I promise you that you will notice changes. So another one for me has been energy levels. I feel my energy levels are finally back to what they were almost before I was a mom, or I became a mom. Which is amazing. I was so sleep deprived and had no energy for so many years once I had kids. So I really, really recommend you to try this, and please let me know how it works out for you. Like, what effects do you see? Some people see it just after a few days. It takes months for some people. So stay with it, stick with it, and let me know how it goes for you.